Let's talk corn because corn is super cool. If you've never seen how corn grows, I'm going to show you today because it is the most freaking cool thing in the garden, I think. So you have these tall, super tall stalks. Of course, everybody knows about stalks of corn. Did you know that you only get about 2 ears of corn on each stalk? So here you can see we have 2 ears of corn growing, one there and one there. And you can tell because you can see the silky parts coming out of the ears as they're forming. But the way that they form is because this part on the top, called the tassel, this is where all the pollen is on these little tassels, of course, that are hanging down there. And the pollen has to fall down or be blown over by another neighboring corn plant because corn is pollinated not by insects like bees, but by the wind. It's wind pollinated. And every single one of these silks gets pollen on it in order to form a kernel. So what that means is every kernel on your cob of corn corresponds to one of these silks. I mean, there's hundreds of them, of course, right? So each silk has to get pollinated, has to get pollen on it in order for the kernel inside to turn into a kernel. Otherwise, you'll be missing kernels on your cob. So if you ever get a corn on the cob or an ear of corn, whatever, that is missing a kernel here and there, it just means that its corresponding silk didn't get any pollen on it. Then the last thing that is really cool about corn is it gets these roots that grow out of the ground. They're freaky looking. And the first time I saw them, I thought there was something wrong with my corn plants. But they actually get those in order to keep them stable in the wind so that they don't blow over. They're just these really tough roots that grow out of the ground to help stabilize the plant. So this is corn. This is our corn patch. You're supposed to plant corn in a square block instead of in a row so that all this pollen can help pollinate all of the tassels, all of the silks on the ears of corn growing on each stalk. So we're excited to get sweet corn this year. Last year, our popcorn and our sweet corn cross-pollinated and made for really yucky sweet corn. You have to make sure if you plant 2 types of corn, like we have sweet corn here, and then we have our popcorn down there, you have to make sure that they're growing at different stages. As you can see, our popcorn is much shorter. We planted it later than our sweet corn so that the tassels and the pollen would not be out at the same time. So now these are just getting pollinated by sweet corn, and our sweet corn should be sweet instead of nasty and starchy like it was last year. So you learn something every year. All right, next time you eat corn, go impress somebody with something that you learned.